The debate for what's been considered a hotly contested race between Representatives Gordon Denlinger and Ryan Ahmet was actually quite amicable until the tone of the campaign was questioned. But that wasn't the case for Lauren Halter. Her symptoms came on fast and strong, and she was diagnosed with a medulloblastoma on her cerebellum when she was 18.
All right, thanks, Carl. Well, this picture-perfect weekend may have some of you gearing up to take a trip to the shore, and here's some good news to send you off. Gas prices are down almost 20 cents a gallon. With less than 10 days left in the fall legislative session and many issues left unresolved in June, local lawmakers are feeling the pressure as they push for proposed bills. Pending restrictions on bridges like this one, where you can see the crumbling cement and exposed metal rods, has officials hoping they don't go through and that roads can remain open. But first, we start tonight with a crowd of dancers in New Holland. Good evening and thank you for watching tonight. I'm Erikablatt. Williams Partners is offering the Haversticks $38.6 thousand to put a pipeline under 10 acres of their farmland property, an amount the homeowner Tony Haverstick says is a dime on the dollar. Police, community leaders, parents, and children in Lancaster City celebrated the launch of Lancaster's first Police Athletic League. It's a program that will connect children with first responders in the area in a fun and friendly environment. News 11 was there for the kickoff today. Federal authorities searched for more than a decade for Joaquin El Chapo Guzman and finally captured him in Mexico last month. Guzman spearheaded the Sinaloa drug cartel, which had a distribution hub in Lancaster until 2007. Those drugs came here to the uncontrolled Smoketown Airport via a private plane. On March 28, 1979, one of the worst accidents in history occurred at this nuclear power plant in Middletown, Pennsylvania. It started at 4 a.m. after several water pumps stopped working in one of the power units. The governor at the time, Dick Thornburg, was at Penn State Harrisburg to commemorate the 35th anniversary and recount the events, including the phone call he got at 7:50 a.m. that morning. Catherine, Lancaster City Council members unanimously voted to support the bill that legalizes the use of medicinal marijuana in Pennsylvania when prescribed by a licensed medical practitioner. Residents here applauded City Council's resolution in support of Senate Bill 1182. Councilmember James Reichenbach says he's received many comments from the public, with a vast majority of them in support of the medicinal marijuana bill.
People want, compassion. People want to be able to treat it with dignity when they're suffering, when they're hurting, when they're in pain. And that's simply all we're talking about here, so I'm proud of that.
This is a big step forward, especially for Lancaster County. As a somewhat conservative county, the city is growing, obviously. It's nice to see that our local city council is willing to make the tough decisions. They're willing to open the dialogue and have a conversation and educate themselves.
It's a long time coming. There are many states, all the states around Pennsylvania have some form of legal medical cannabis, and there are thousands, tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands of people who are suffering from diseases that can be relieved.
Lancaster City is one of the first municipalities to officially support legalizing medicinal marijuana in the state. Council said tonight they are just focusing on this Senate bill for medicinal cannabis to show Lancaster's support in Harrisburg. On September 16th, the bill will be voted on in the Appropriations Committee before it moves on to the Senate, and News 11 will have an update on the state's position at that time. Reporting live in Lancaster, Erikablatt, News 11. An Akron man has been charged with sexually assaulting a young girl. According to police, 47-year-old Merle Ann McClure assaulted the girl while she was in his care on May 7th. McClure is charged with involuntary deviant sexual intercourse with a child, unlawful contact with a minor, indecent assault, endangering the welfare of a child, and corruption of a minor. McClure posted $150,000 bail. A preliminary hearing has been scheduled for August 22nd. Manheim Township Police caught up with two suspects they say dined and dashed. Charges have been filed against 27-year-old Edward Burke III and 23-year-old James Burke, both of Millersville. Authorities say the pair ate nearly $50 worth of food at Linden City Diner earlier this month and left without paying. They have both been charged with theft of services.
A large water tanker ended up on its side in New Holland this afternoon. Police told News 11 around 3:45 the tanker was traveling down Railroad Avenue when a car pulled out in front of it. The driver of the tanker swerved to miss the car and instead ended up in a ditch on its side, just missing a telephone pole. No one was injured. A portion of Railroad Avenue was shut down while first responders cleared the scene. Local beekeepers are sending out an urgent plea to all property owners in the area. They're desperately asking people not to spray against pollinators. Now, this is really easy to prepare. All you need is your packet of meat, 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of water. You want to mix it up in a bowl and then pour it in a pan and cook it like you would ground beef. Okay, so during the summertime, something like this maxi dress would be ideal to wear because it is cool and comfortable, and I could wear it day and night.
Exactly.
Children can come here during the day. It's good for them, it's nurturing, it's an educational environment, and parents can feel good about dropping them off because they know that they'll be in good care. But Thumper's life wasn't always so glamorous. Thumper's actually a rescue dog who was found roaming the streets of York. Her life didn't turn around until she was taken in by a tell-to-tell puppy mill rescue. Today still felt dangerously cold even though the sun was out in full force, and I don't think it's supposed to warm up for the weekend. But let's find out with Carl Kern's first look at the forecast. Hey, Carl. Almost 100 motorcyclists roared to life on their way out of Lancaster today as they left for a ride to remember. It's the largest police-escorted motorcycle ride in the U.S. News 11's Peter Taraborelli has the story. Child predators can be anyone, old or young, rich or poor, educated or uneducated. However, they often demonstrate similar characteristics.
Hey, Catherine. So up until this point, it was actually pretty clear, but as soon as I come outside, it starts sleeting pretty hard. But if you can see the pavement right here, it's actually okay. It's just wet. It's not slushy or icy, which is a good thing. But regardless, PennDOT has imposed 45-mile-per-hour speed limit restrictions on routes 222, 322, 30, and 283. So if you have to drive anywhere, give yourself some extra time. But hopefully, everyone's at home for the night, and the rest of us can make it home safely this evening. The game begins at 7 p.m. tomorrow. The Ephrata Gridiron is hosting a tailgate at 5:30 for any friends, family, students, and alumni. And News 11 will have coverage of the game on our post-game show tomorrow, so tune in to watch the highlights. Reporting live in Ephrata, Erikablatt, News 11. I did it for my first time ever, but I'm just one of many. Police, firefighters, and residents will be lining up for the next several weeks to donate blood to Lancaster General Hospital. And I'm here with Lieutenant Tim Fry. It was actually his idea. Why are you hosting the first Battle of the Badges today? The United Way should know tonight if they've broke their world record, and I'll have that full story coming up at 10 o'clock tonight. Reporting live in Lancaster for News 11, I'm Erikablatt. The loss is roughly estimated at $1 million. There was a state police fire marshal called to investigate the cause, which has yet to be determined. Reporting in East Cocalico Township for News 11, I'm Erikablatt. Around 2 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, April 10th, 3 suspects cleared a lot of merchandise and cash from the A+ Sunoco on West Main Street in Ephrata, and one of those suspects was an on-duty clerk. And we're actually here with a very special guest. This is Allison Stoltzfus, and she is the 2013 Mannheim Farm Show Queen. She was crowned on Monday night, and you go to Mannheim Central. You're a senior, right? Okay. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And can you tell us about the competition? Well, it's so inspiring that you're still out here doing your thing and walking. I hope that you can make it through, the next 18 hours, and thank you. Have a good night, okay? So, like I said, there are still 18 hours left. Anyone is welcome to come and walk the track and find a cure for cancer. They'll be here until 4 o'clock tomorrow. Human trafficking, by definition, is a form of modern-day slavery where people profit from the control and exploitation of others. And Pennsylvania's central location makes it more common than you think.
There's a lot of interstate and highways that pass through Pennsylvania, and so it's a big hub along truck stops is where trafficking occurs, along these interstates, because the reality is these truck drivers are purchasing girls for sex.
Trafficking happens everywhere. There's no question about that. It's pretty much an unrefuted issue, fact anymore. It is more common in larger urban areas. We are seeing it more in New York and Philadelphia, New Jersey.
It's estimated anywhere from 100,000 to 300,000 children under 18 are enslaved in sex trafficking each year in the United States. Most of the time, girls as young as 11 years old are the victims.
These girls are lured are lured away by pimps and traffickers, and they see their vulnerability, and they start, loving upon them and acting like they want to be their boyfriend and lifting them up, and these girls just receive this love that they think is so important, when in reality, a few weeks later, the guy says, hey, sweetie, I don't have enough money. Do you mind sleeping with my friend Johnny over here? We can't pay rent this month.
Life expectancy after a child gets into that lifestyle is typically 7 years.
Pennsylvania is one of the few states that still has an F grade from the Polaris Project in terms of legislation that's in place for trafficking. Several local anti-trafficking organizations are banding together this weekend in hopes of shedding light on the problem.
This is a huge issue. Yes, it is one that we need to pay attention to. It's not going to go away until we do something to reduce demand and give law enforcement the tools that they need and be able to prosecute traffickers.
In December, Senate Bill 75 unanimously passed the Senate and awaits approval from the House. This bill would assist in the protection, prosecution, and prevention of human traffickers and their victims. If you're interested in learning more about this modern-day slavery, there's a conference this Saturday at the Ware Center. Back to you.
They have $3.2 billion in cash flow alone.
Citizens were so fired up at the open house at Millersville University that they even staged a sit-in. Their concern: Williams Partners is proposing to build a 35-mile-long, 50-foot-wide pipeline under 7 townships in southern Lancaster County that would affect more than 350 landowners. Many of those landowners are concerned with the safety and environmental impact.
They admittedly say we have no record of any water contamination, but they only keep track and record water contamination that's in municipal water places. It's not well water. All of us have well water.
My biggest concerns are explosions. Williams Company has had 3 explosions since March 31st.
But Williams Partners spokesman Chris Stockton says the company has years of experience practicing safety.
We have a lot of safeguards that we put into place. We've been constructing pipelines across the country for a very long time. We operate 15,000 miles of pipe.
Another major concern is why put a new pipeline through Lancaster County? Williams already owns the Transco line that's responsible for shipping 10% of the nation's natural gas. Stockton says it's because the existing infrastructure is maxed out.
You need the infrastructure in place to connect those production areas with the market areas that consume that gas, and currently that infrastructure isn't fully capable of transporting that gas.
Residents are under the impression that existing pipelines must be used before building a new one. Jennifer Kerrigan of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission says that's not true.
It doesn't say they must. It says that they should try to use it, and there may be issues along the existing pipeline, like development.
Kerrigan says this is a pre-filing process for the pipeline. FERC will consider all feedback and make its final decision within the next several months.
3-year-old Erikablatt and 4-year-old John Ahorio were kidnapped at gunpoint last night around 7:30 from a home on Almanac Avenue in Lancaster City. State police found the children safe around 8 o'clock this morning in the Philadelphia area. They say that the Amber Alert played a major role in their recovery.
The information apparently was pretty good that maybe they were headed to Philadelphia, and at that point, that's when the trooper spotted them, probably not too long after that information was getting out there. So, you'd probably have to ask the state police how many calls they actually got, but usually in an Amber Alert, they get a lot of information.
The alert was issued at 11:30 Thursday night after the children's father, 23-year-old Eddie Ahorio Martinez, and grandfather, 47-year-old Eddie Ahorio Saavedra, went to the residence, threatened and assaulted 3 people inside, then took off with the children in a black Nissan. The vehicle was pulled over in Montgomery County, where the children were found asleep in the back seat.
State police are extremely thorough, and they transport them to their barracks, and I'm sure they went through all the necessary steps to ensure that they were fine, and our detectives transported them back to Lancaster to reunite them with their mother.
The children and their mother recently moved out of a home they shared with her estranged husband in Columbia. She told police Ahorio Martinez made verbal threats to her last week.
We're not going to get into details on that. Apparently, whatever the victim felt, there obviously was a lot of validity to that, for the fact that he and his father entered that residence and grabbed both of the children.
The two suspects are both in police custody. They face kidnapping, burglary, and assault, among other charges. They'll both be arraigned tonight at the Lancaster County Prison. Reporting in Lancaster for News 11, I'm Erikablatt.